Welcome to a most beautiful summer evening here in the Netherlands. It's not too warm, it's just perfect outdoors, and I am here in the Passion for Pencils headquarters. I opened the window and I feel like doing a little bit of painting, finishing what I started I think 2 years ago, maybe even longer ago. And this is the project from this beautiful book, watercoloring book, Painterly Days by Christy Rice. And this one is the Woodland watercoloring book. It was a gift from one of you. And well, as you can see, I've been doing a lot of painting. The book is falling apart, but you know, I have this one thing I need to learn, finishing my stuff. So, let's go. I am going to use Series 7 Winsor & Newton brushes and my Sennelier painting set. It's not solely Sennelier. It's not just Sennelier. There is, this one is a Rembrandt. There is the American brand Think. Not M. Graham, but the other one. I have a complete set. Can't remember. It will come. Here is a Winsor & Newton. And the rest is Sennelier. Now I think you can see that this page, it lacks a little bit of contrast, and I'm going to work on that, on the berries. And well, let's just see how things will work out. I'm trying to check on the camera whether you can see it if I'm going to mix a little bit. As you can see, my palette is not clean at all. I don't mind, that's okay with me. Let's get for this pink rosy tone, Winsor & Newton Permanent Rose, this is. And first I'm just going to use it to add a little bit more color here and there. And now it's just a matter of experimenting, picking up a little bit of Payne's grey. That may not be the perfect choice, but you know, the one thing I love about this Painterly Days watercoloring book is that the author, Christy Rice, she invites you to splash around with your colors and just go for it, experiment, enjoy the experiment, and just fall in love with all the colors you have on your palette. Now, you by no means need professional watercolors to enjoy this lovely watercoloring book. Just use whatever you have. But I must admit, there is a clear difference between professional watercolor paint and the student grade paints. And the really cheap ones below that. So if you really are interested in watercoloring, I can highly recommend at least a student grade paint, and there are a couple of brands that have very good student grade paints, and maybe the best one is a Dutch brand, Van Gogh. And then there is this professional watercolor paint called St. Petersburg that is of a lower price range and actually very good. And the paints that I'm using right now, Sennelier, here in Europe is a little bit less expensive than the other brands like Winsor and Newton and Schminke. And that is one of the reasons that I started out with Sennelier watercolor paint. It was not my first set. My first set was a student grade Winsor and Newton Cotman, and I've enjoyed those paints a lot, but I felt something is holding me back, and I couldn't figure out what it was until I painted with the Sennelier paints. And then I knew it has really something to do with the quality of the paint, the way the paint acts on the paper. When I had the Sennelier paints, things became much easier. So yeah. It's a wonderful quiet evening here with the blue sky. I can see here through the window there's a blue sky, which is lovely. The flowers are blooming in the garden right now, but they need a lot of water. It is a dry summer this year, and these dry summers are getting more and more common here in Europe, in the Netherlands. And the problem here in the delta, the Netherlands is a delta of two big European rivers. The river Maas, La Meuse, which comes from France, and then it comes through Belgium, the Ardennes, and then it comes to the Netherlands, and it's flowing just a couple of kilometers away from here. And the other big river is the river Rhine, that starts in Switzerland and then flows through Germany, and then it enters the Netherlands. Now the amount of water going through those rivers is getting less and less, and in the delta where we live, there is this sort of pressure. There's a water pressure from the sea inlands, going inlands. So when there's less water in the rivers, the water table, groundwater table, it lowers, and then there is more pressure from seawater actually, but that is salty, but that finds its way into the land, into the soil, and that's actually a problem for the farmers and the plants and trees. I think this looks much better already. We just needed a little bit extra contrast. So yeah, living in the delta, you wouldn't expect to have a problem with low groundwater levels when there are two huge rivers flowing into the area, but actually the sea is pushing inland, pushing its water into the lowlands of the Netherlands. This beautiful pink color is called permanent rose. It's absolutely lovely color, but the pink tones, like in pencils, colored pencils, the pink colors most of the time are not very light fast, and the same goes for this permanent rose. It's a lovely color, but it's very, very fugitive. A couple of years ago I took this watercoloring book with me on vacation. It was we had a vacation home on the shores of Lake Como in Italy, in the Italian Alps, and I think it was the year that I received this book. I was so hooked that I couldn't stop painting. I just went on deep into the evening. It was already dark, and I painted by the light of a lamp that really wasn't suitable for painting. It was not a daylight lamp, so it was very faint light coming from it, but I just couldn't stop painting. This book, yeah, I really like it. I haven't touched it for a while, but as you can see, I come back to it. It's just a lovely book to experiment, enjoy yourself, learn. I am for sure planning on taking my watercolors with me on vacation this year also. And for the last couple of years I've been using a backpack to fill it with painting and drawing equipment, and I would love to take everything with me, all my pencils and paints and coloring books and papers and stuff, but this backpack, it's solely for my drawing stuff and painting stuff, and it helps me to make choices, but take whatever I want to take with me, but I can't take everything. I think I will make a video about packing that rucksack. The only thing that doesn't fit is the watercolor paint, the watercolor paper, the larger size. Most of the time I take that with me, but then in the suitcase. And I also have a field easel that I take with me that doesn't fit in the backpack either. So those are two things that will not be in the backpack, but the rest must fit, otherwise I will fill our car. I could fill it completely with just pencils and paints and papers and yeah. But it's so nice going on vacation, sitting on a balcony with a gorgeous view, and then just do some coloring, painting, drawing, whatever. It's so lovely. Or making little landscape sketches. I like doing that as well. I'm not very good at it, but that's okay. Just like it. I have a special watercolor kit that I can take with me on a day hike. So it is a couple of days later, and I'm going to continue this gorgeous page. I think I want to create a little bit more contrast here, so I'm going to make this leaf darker. So I'm going to pick up a dark green mixture that I have on my palette. And maybe, I don't know if I showed it earlier. I started this video with the Sennelier paints and now I switched to Winsor & Newton. Why? Just because I can. Just because I like it. Winsor & Newton, beautiful paint. So let's go. This is just gorgeous. We are having the most beautiful evening. It is quite still, quiet in our neighborhood. It is mid-August. No, that's not true. It's early August, mid-summer holidays, and many people here are on vacation, and you can hear it. There is less traffic, and that is just so, it's quiet. I love it. So I'm just smoothing things out with a wet brush, just smoothing out the edges a little bit. Just loving this. Let's pick up a little bit of Payne's Grey to get into the crevices here of that flower. Today I have finished our renovation project in our garden. The old shed, we have been renovating it, and today I finished the last bit of painting that had to be done. I feel very proud. And the thing is, whether it's painting a shed or a house, or painting in this gorgeous book, I just love paint. I love the stuff. Picking up a little bit of, I believe this is sap green or an olive green, I'm not sure exactly. And that is the fun thing with Painterly Days, this book. Do whatever you want and you will end up with a gorgeous adventurous painting. And that is exactly what the author Christy Rice wants you to do. At least that is the impression that I have of her and her way of painting. I think this is a little bit too much, so I'm picking up the excessive paint. It's all fine. Before starting this part of the video, I took a photo with my phone and just looked at it. A photo of this page, and taking a picture helps me to see what next needs to be done next. We are planning on going to the French Alps soon, and I just read an article that it's so hot high in the mountains that even mountaineering has become problematic. Now, my husband and I, we are not mountaineers, not climbers. We like to do day hikes, but not the very long ones where you have to stay in a hut high in the mountains. We don't do that. And that you can still do that, but really climb the high peaks has become quite dangerous because of melting glaciers and snow. So I feel quite excited and also thankful that we have the opportunity this summer to go to the French Alps and see that majestic white mountain, the Mont Blanc, before all the glaciers are gone. Because I think that's going to happen. Those glaciers will continue to melt for the next couple of years. I was planning on practicing my French because we go to France with just watching a couple of nature documentaries about the area will be going, the French Alps. But interestingly, I cannot find many French spoken documentaries on YouTube. So I'll have to watch other videos to practice my French, and I think it's handy to practice a little bit. I think you can see that this just helps to let the flowers pop out, and these flowers themselves, they need more contrast as well, but I leave that to a later. I think I have to take this painting with me to France because it won't be finished soon. No. So let's go for this leaf. This is just so nice. It's a beautiful summer evening here, and they are expecting warm weather again. It's a very beautiful hot summer, a little bit too dry, but lots and lots of sunshine. And I actually like sunshine. Touch of that dark Payne's grey mixed with a little bit of green. You know, I love nature. I just love it. It's the best thing. Nothing beats the beauty of nature. And today there was in the news, in the Dutch news, there's a third wolf pack in the Netherlands. Since a couple of years there are wolves in the Netherlands, and well, of course it took a while for actual wolf packs to form, because then baby wolves would have to be born. And that happened a couple of years ago for the first time. And then it happened with 2 other wolves. So there was a second wolf pack. And now there's a third one. It's not close to where I live. No. It's at least an hour's drive before we enter wolf country. I haven't seen or heard them while being in the woods here. We saw wolves in Yellowstone National Park. There was it was very impressive. Very impressive animals. But I love nature. And last weekend my husband and I, we discovered a new patch of beauty in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is flat. It's flat land except for a couple of hills. And one of these hills, we have hills in the south, and then, yeah, how do I say, what's the English word? It's more like a land mass that is pushed upwards. So it's not like a mountain, but it's a sand dunes that are being pushed forward by glaciers during the last ice age. And we have a couple of those hills made of sand, and one of these hills is well, it's a stretch of hills. It's east of the city Utrecht, and I was looking for a spot where I could do some training for my operated knee. I had a knee operation last year. Now we want to go back into the mountains, and I wanted to do some training. And we had just a wonderful hike last weekend in that hill stretch of hills east of Utrecht. And just 10 minutes in, we saw a roe deer. It's the smallest deer in the Netherlands, but it's also the most elegant one. I love it. Beautiful little deer. I really like how this is evolving, I have to say, yes. You can see, I hope you can see that creating contrast makes your painting so much more alive. It's so lovely. Just splash around. I'm definitely going to take this watercoloring book with me on vacation. Normally when my husband and I have a hike, we stop, find a bench with a view. We had beautiful benches with a view this time also, twice actually. And then I start making a sketch, a watercolor painting. But this time I didn't feel like it. I had the kit with me, but I was so excited about the walk itself that I just sat on that bench, enjoyed the view, and then continued walking. There was also a majestic oak tree with the benches underneath it, and the tree was called the Lonely Oak. It was beautiful. The heather is starting to bloom, so I think I should try to find a patch of heather somewhere next week or the week after. I think it will be beautiful then. So I think you can see I'm changing the color slightly. The leaves were a more bluish green, and now I'm more turning towards an yellowish olive green. Yeah, that's just happening, and it's okay, I think. Now I'm trying a slightly different approach, adding clean water first and then putting in paint, a mixture of olive green and yellow. Very nice. And the fun thing with watercolor is that because the paints I use are all quite transparent, the layers underneath are still doing their work. They have influence on the colors on top. All these layers together create a unique tone and color.